So I like doing these because it always highlights how little I know about things. Like I just don't know in terms of size how much the average educational institute really needs to survive. Like I just don't know that. And I part of the reason is I know it's really dependent on context and it's really dependent on where you are and who your market is and all this stuff. And I'm not a business major, so that doesn't scale for me. But if you're like, what's the average cost of running a mid-sized middle school in a large urban area in the US? I would have no idea. Like I can give you a ballpark figure, but I just don't know. I know 40 million is not enough to run a uni, but that's about it. So we're going to college. We're going back to
Hmm.
college. Me and Dave are going back to college. We're getting baseball caps and backpacks and jean shorts, and we're going back to university.
What
Um,
frat are you going to pledge in, Gavin?
Dave, I'm going to be honest. I never saw myself as much of a frat guy.
Oh, that's a shocker.
That's a real, you've clearly met me. Um, yeah, that's a real, I don't know. I could see you joining a frat and getting a settlement.
Yeah, I actually
Yeah,
considered it my sophomore year. I
I could see that.
had I not done study abroad, my option B, plan
Probably.
B was join a fraternity.
I could see that. With me, I think the chances of me joining a fraternity were probably about the same as me joining the Chicago Bears.
Oh, okay.
Not probably higher than you'd think, but not that high.
And probably not
Um,
really beneficial for either side, right?
and can you imagine starting linebacker for the Bears?
Gavin Lucky.
I mean, probably. There's a great tradition of football players in my family, but it's not something that I have continued with. But I did go, but no, a wonderful tradition that I did continue in my family was I went to college. And you went to college too, isn't that right, Dave?
I did. I did. I
I
got my
did.
undergrad and my master's.
Same. We're both master's students. And we're talking about something that I actually have found kind of sad as we've been doing research for this episode. Um, we're talking about the decline of universities in America,
Hmm.
mostly small private colleges. And in the middle of researching this, I discovered that a school that I had actually applied to and been accepted to in 2010 closed. And they closed a while ago, but I just hadn't noticed, or maybe I had and I'd forgotten. Marlborough College in Vermont closed in 2020. The last reported endowment was about $40 million, not a lot. I think when they closed, they had 150 students. They merged into Emerson College in Boston. And they were sort of the first private college of many more that have closed since, Dave. And this is a trend that's really sped up in the last year or so. What's going on?
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on, and this is actually, I would say, very sad for a lot of these smaller colleges.
Mhm.
And it's estimated in the next 10 years, according to the Huron Consulting Group, that 442 out of the 1,700 small colleges are going to close or shut down. So that's a huge chunk of them. And this year, you're going to potentially lose five at the end of the semester. So Trinity College, shouldn't say potentially, you are going to lose five. Five are shutting down. Trinity College, Siena Heights College, Sterling College, Hampshire College, and Martin University. And then you've got smaller colleges and universities in Oregon that are merging together to try to stay alive. There really is a big shakeup in higher ed. Some of it is due to the demographic cliff that's coming, Some of it is due
Hmm.
to a lack of international students that's coming, and also you have people that are
And
going,
that's
well,
accelerated in the last couple of years for
it
obvious
has.
reasons.
It
Yeah.
has. And you also have people going, well, is it worth going to college?
Yeah.
Is it a financial investment for me to go? And if I spend 50 to 100, or now it's getting closer to $200,000 for some schools to get a
Which is
degree,
crazy.
which is, yeah, what's the return on my investment and how long is it going to take me to get that back? And that's
And
the biggest question a lot of people are having.
it, it's a fantastic question, I think. I mean, and there was a point in time where you could look at the benefits of a bachelor's and a master's degree. And I mean, I don't know what your experience has been. I mean, I do to an extent, but like I would say for me, having a master's has been beneficial. I can see it's helped me financially, it's helped me get some stability in life. But when I look back at people living in the States, I don't see that as much. And I don't think I would see that now. And like when I look at the school I work at, and we're still sending most of our graduating class to the States, it's difficult for me to go, yeah, I think you're making the right decision by going to this country and going to a 4-year liberal arts program. And I love the liberal arts model. I think that's really good. It's not the model I went to, but I think if you are someone who's not financially secure or independently wealthy, you got to look at it and go, is this really going to get me what I want? And I think for a lot of Americans, that's just not there. And for a lot of international students, the appeal of that is now substantially offset by the difficulties of getting in to the United States and staying there. And I think living there, where people have been talking about creating a hostile environment, that's there for a lot of people. And it's kind of putting a hit out on a lot of these educational institutes that I would say were dependent on international students.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before. I'll put links to
Mm,
our episodes where we did talk about this. But international students from some countries, you could get a degree from the United States and then go back and say, hey, I have a degree from the United States. It's easier for
mm,
you to get a job because you have an American education. And that's changed a lot, I would say, in the last 5 to 10 years.
yeah.
And it's gotten a lot more expensive too for families that are sending their students and sending their children over to the United States. So they're going, okay, we can send you to another country to get an education that's probably going to be around the same level of quality as the United States, and it's going to be cheaper. And we might just do that instead. So
Yeah.
people are understanding now they have other options, or they're looking at other options to potentially send their younger students to foreign countries to study. And with that same thing, I mean, I got a master's degree. So far, I have not seen the return on my investment.
Mm,
And I spent a lot of money. I'd saved for a long time. I spent a lot of money to get my master's, even with scholarships. And do I regret it? No, I don't regret it. But if you're looking at it from a financial standpoint, so far, it's not panned out very well. And it will in the
mm.
future. But as of right now, it has not panned out. And I think a lot of people that are getting undergraduate degrees, now they're going into getting a master's, they're starting to feel, okay, now I get a master's. Well, when you get a master's and everybody else now has a master's, how does that set you apart? And we're getting into a world now where it's not just about having a degree that says you have some sort of a skill, but you can actually use and do something with that skill.
And I think, I mean, this is another episode, and I'm not going to
And that's
linger
why I don't want
here.
to jump into it because it's going off track.
It's going off track, but it's also that opens up the whole conversation about what skills do you need? What do you need to know? Where are we going? What does the world look like? And I think that uncertainty is a big contributing factor to a lot of these institutions closing, where it's increasingly difficult to sell them. It's difficult to sell them to people. And the market that may have bought, and I hate to talk about this like a business,
It
Uh,
is a business, though, at the end of the
but
day.
it is a business. It is a business at the end of the day. A lot of the market that these colleges were selling to doesn't exist anymore.
Hmm.
And the colleges that are surviving through mergers are having to adapt to, again, frankly, a hostile environment for educational institutes.
Yeah,
Um, and this is just where we're going. This is part of a series. This is an ongoing conversation. I think about higher education in America, but also just like higher education in the world.
same. And I want to go back to something really quick that you were talking about just a minute
Mm,
ago. I was talking to my dad about this a couple of days ago,
mm,
and you have a lot more grade inflation in colleges and universities and in high schools than you did in the past. And seems to me that the products are more watered down than they were. It's less rigorous and it's more of a necessary, I guess, stepping stone to move forward. And you bring in AI, you bring in all of these, I guess, tools that students can use to help them. But at the
mm.
same time, students are not using them to help them, they're using them to do the work. So this is going off again on another tangent here. But students, I think, are seeing that this is maybe not as much of a long-term investment or what's the right word? I'm thinking here and I'm thinking too deeply about it. It's not what it
Because
was.
you're a college educated man. You're
I
thinking deeply,
am.
Dave.
I know. I'm
You're thinking deeply. You're
I am.
cogitating upon this issue.
I am.
I
I'm
mean,
going Rene
with
Descartes here. If I think, therefore I am.
Jesus Christ. I should have expected that, but I didn't. Um, no, I mean, look, I broadly agree. First of all, great inflation is just an issue. It's just a big problem. Yeah, I think there's a lack of buy-in in the system because the kids are looking at this and they're going, it's something I need to do to get the grade, to get through the system, but I don't really know why I'm doing it. I don't really know what I'm going to get out of it. And the reality is, and I will pick on America on this, because teachers are, I think, horrifically undervalued and underpaid and overworked, and I think in some cases undertrained. They're in a situation where, look, we talk about students relying on AI or people not taking the system seriously. I think there are a lot of teachers that you can probably throw into that basket too. And I
Hmm.
think the majority of them do, and the majority of them are, giving it 110% because my God, I can't think of, well, I can, unfortunately, because it's America, but there are not a lot of professions that are more overworked. But, the whole system is not working for a lot of people. And the longer these issues are unaddressed, the more it doesn't work. I mean, to get back to grade inflation, like that's a huge problem that people do not want to address because addressing the issue of grade inflation it is deeply uncomfortable because on some level you're saying the grades we're giving are not accurate, and actually people might not be doing this well. That's uncomfortable for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. I think we're beginning to address. I mean, at the end of the day, it comes to the issue of authentic assessments, which is again another pod. But yeah, it's a whole mess, and unfortunately, there are a lot of people in higher ed taking it in the neck right now. So, hats off to all the teachers in the US, and that's on the fringe.
Yeah. And just for you guys, our listeners, this is a topic that we are very passionate about. I was a teacher for nine
Clearly,
years. We were
I'm
both
still a
teachers
teacher.
in Peace Corps. Yep, Gavin's still a teacher. So if you are a teacher or if you are working in education in the United States or in a foreign country and you would like to jump on the pod, shoot us an email and we'd love to have you on. Open invite.
We'll have some man, we'll have some great pods. Um, Yes, please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your enemies, share with everyone. You will hear from us again soon. This is On the Fringe, and I'm telling you, Dave, I'm telling you what time it is.
Uh, Hammer time.
No, it's button time. Can't touch this. Da, da, da.